Guys, so let's go over chapter 10. In chapter 10, we're going to be going one step further. And so we talked about perfect competition where we have all the same goods. And then with that, you can only have that price. But then we went to the opposite end. And now we have monopolies where you only have one good. And so you only have one firm. And with that one firm, right, they are trying to maximize their profits. And we talked about the different things about monopolies. Well, what if there was another competition that we had? Monopolistic competition. And really, we don't have any monopolies, but we also don't have perfect competition. So that's where we have like this middle ground with monopolistic competition. So the way I like to think about this is like the different kinds of cereals that we have on the shelf at HEB, right? So there's different kinds that we have, right? But are they all the same? No, but at the base of them, right, they're all cereals. So they're the same, but they're also different. And that's where it's kind of like this middle ground between perfect competition, where they're similar, but they're also their own firm and product. So not perfect competition, more like monopoly. So that's where we have monopolistic competition. So it is what is called imperfect competition. Firms and organizations that fall between the extremes of monopoly and perfect competition. So imperfect. And what it really is that there's many firms that are competing to sell similar but differentiated products. So what this is that we have a large number of firms. Each firm has a small market share in the whole market, right? So in terms of the whole market, that's kind of like the whole aisle of the grocery store and cereal, okay? And each one has their own little section. Okay, so each one has their small little market share in the whole aisle. Okay, and they're all differentiated. These are heterogeneous products. A product that a consumer perceives as distinctive in some way. So it could be something physical. It could be maybe a location about it. It could be some sort of intangible aspect, or it could be some sort of perception. The main thing here about these products is that they are the same, like cereal or t-shirts, right? Like in just the generic term of it, that's what they are. But you have different kinds of t-shirts, you have different kinds of food within that. So the way I like to think about differentiated products is that they're the same, but they're also different. Okay? So that's what's happening here, is that they're same but different. Okay, and so it could be some sort of physical aspect. Maybe, one is in a cardboard box, one's in a plastic bag. For somebody, that would have maybe some sort of preference over the cardboard box versus the plastic bag. There's different perceptions about that. It could be something like a higher quality. We could have different phones, right? They're all phones, but some have more technology in them. Or maybe there's some that are bigger, some that fold in half, some sort of physical aspect about it. Maybe it can be some sort of location from which they sell, right? So we do have restaurants, but then we have restaurants that are on the lake. We have restaurants that are downtown, right? There are different things that restaurants can be, all the same restaurant, but in the location that they sell makes them different. It can be some sort of intangible aspect, something that you can't really touch about it. There's something about it that you really, really like, and that makes them different. So let's go with the restaurant example. There could be some places that have exceptional customer service. There is that extra intangible aspect that makes them different. Same product in terms of restaurants, but that is something different about them. And the last one's going to be perceptions, right? There's something that you like, that you're seeing, that makes them different from somebody else. So that's what we're meaning by differentiated products. Homogeneous products was perfect competition, where it was the exact same product, exactly the same. Okay? And the last aspect about monopolistic competition is that there's easy entry and easy exit. So similar to perfect competition, where if you wanted to start a business, you can, right? There's no problems there. You can just go ahead and start it tomorrow if you wanted to. There are some barriers to entry, right? So it's easy. Basically, you have to pay some taxes and things like that to get started, but that's basically it, right? There's nothing really preventing you from starting this business. There could be some advertisement budgets that you need to take into account, but in terms of just starting it, relatively easy. So, monopolistic competition, these are the top three. Large number of firms, differentiated product, easy entry, easy exit. So if we were to compare the elasticities, what we're going to find is that perfect competition, remember, was perfectly elastic. So it was completely horizontal, okay? And then we have monopolies, which are more inelastic because they're the only firm. Less substitutes, more inelastic. So more inelastic here. And so with monopolistic competition, where there's different options, we're going to be more elastic. We're not going to be perfectly elastic like perfect competition because they are differentiated. They're not the same. So it's going to be more elastic. So it's going to be not inelastic. It's going to be a little bit more flat. So therefore, we do have the law of demand. So if we were to lower price, that will increase quantity. Okay, so the law of demand does apply here. Okay? So what does this mean about profit maximization? Well, everything we learn about monopoly, do the exact same thing with monopolistic competition. We still need a demand, marginal revenue, marginal cost. We need that to start. We need to do MR equals MC because that is always our profit max. We then need to find the quantity, go straight down. We need to find the price, so we go up to the demand curve. Remember, you got to go all the way up to the demand curve. That's the price. And then you go from quantity up to the ATC, and that's where you find your ATC. Okay? So then you can find your area of profit or loss. Let's see what this looks like. Okay? We find our marginal revenue, marginal cost. That happens right here. We find the quantity, which is 40. We go up to the demand curve to find price. Go to the demand curve. Okay. And then we find price, which is 15, 17, something like that. And then we can find our ATC, which is this line right here. So that point right there is our ATC. Therefore, this area is our profits. Okay? So same rules apply. All right. So again, just in general, if you were to draw this, you would go demand, marginal revenue. Remember, the marginal revenue is just shifted inwards. You have marginal cost, which is that Nike swish. We're going to find MR equals MC, find the quantity, go up to demand, find the price. Now we need the ATC. It doesn't matter where you draw it, right? But it's most important that you draw it at the minimum point right there. So now we'll find the ATC at that quantity. Okay. And then this area right here is our profits or losses. Losses, right? Because at this point right here, your ATC is higher than your price. So these are your losses. Okay. Now, in terms of a long run adjustment, we talked about these with perfect competition. If there's profits to be made, a business wants to jump in there, so they will open a business, and if they open a business, this will increase the supply, and this will change the price. Similar idea here. However, we're not going to be focusing on the market because unlike perfect competition, where we're drawing the price from the market, monopolistic competition, you can make your own price. So the market supply is not going to affect you. However, the demand for your product will change. Because if there's more competition, right, then someone doesn't have to buy from you. They can buy from somebody else. So if somebody would rather buy over there, they're going to buy more over there, less of you, so demand would decrease. So let's talk about this. If a monopolistic firm is earning a profit, okay, other people would start a business. So this will change the demand for that firm. If the new firm happens, right, they're brand new, so increasing the demand. Because people are buying over there, they buy less over here. Okay, so yes, we will have an increase in the market, but in terms of the firm, we're going to have a different demand curve for the firm. With more options, you don't have to keep buying from that particular brand anymore, so you have less demand for the old firm and an increase in demand for the new firm. The entry of other firms into the same general market shifts the demand curve that a monopolistic competitive firm faces. Okay? The main thing here is just that the demand will be shifting because of other businesses entering. It's kind of interesting here because you're like, well, doesn't that change supply? Yes. However, when we're talking about the individual firm, that changes the demand for that firm. Okay? Now, that's with a profit. With a loss, on the other hand, right, we're just going to flip everything around because if you're losing money, you shut down. So therefore, we have less businesses over here. All those customers go over here. So the demand will go down over there and it'll increase over here. Okay? So if a firm shuts down, people can't buy from them anymore, so they start buying from the existing firm, and so that will increase the demand for that firm. Right? So let's see what happens here. If we are having a firm earning economic profits, right off the bat, I like to do this. I like to tell myself price is greater than ATC, just to remind myself what that is. Okay, that's where profits happen. Now, price, quantity, demand, marginal revenue, marginal cost. Find out where our MR equals MC. Find our quantity. Find our price. And since price is greater than ATC, I'm going to draw the ATC down here. Okay? So this point right here is my ATC. So there are profits being made here. So the next thing that happens is firms enter. So firms enter. And if because firms enter, there's going to be an increase in the demand for the new firm, there's going to be a decrease in the demand for this firm. So the demand for the firm goes down. Okay. So we're going to be shifting the demand to the left, right there. And then we're also having to change the marginal revenue, marginal cost. Okay, so the marginal revenue will also be shifting in. Everything about this stays the same. Okay. So we'll go here, and then we'll draw a new marginal revenue curve. Now the marginal cost didn't change, right? Nothing about the cost for the firm changed. So all that stays the same. ATC, MC, all those stay the same. So now we have a new point right here. MR equals MC. We'll find the quantity. We'll call it Q double star. We'll find the price. So this is our price here. And then we'll find the ATC. And sure enough, it's at the same point there. So when you're earning zero economic profits, there's no point in entering the market and there's no point in leaving the market. So this is our long run adjustment. where we have zero economic profits. So firms enter, demand will decrease to where price is equal to ATC, and this is your long run equilibrium. Okay, so let's try this again. But now we're earning losses. Remember, losses, price is less than ATC. So we have the demand, we have the marginal revenue, we have the marginal cost, we have MR equals MC, quantity, price, ATC. So this point right here is our losses. Okay? Now, because you're making losses, what happens next? Firms will exit. Because firms exit, what happens to the demand for this firm? Well, now that firms are exiting, we're having a decrease in the demand for them. We're having an increase in demand over here. Okay? So therefore, we're going to have a shift in the demand curve like that, because you're shifting it outward. And because that happened, you're going to be changing the marginal revenue curve. So that looks like that. So we'll have our new MR equals MC, find our quantity, find our price, goes up to the demand curve, and then we'll also find our ATC, and they are the same right there. So price equals ATC. That is our long run adjustment for economic losses. Firms exit, demand will go up to where price equals ATC, and that is your long run equilibrium. The main thing I really want you to understand here is that when there's profits, the demand will go down. When there's losses, demand will go up. Okay? The point where there are no profits or losses, that's where you're done. That's where you don't have to do anything. Okay? So with that information, let's talk about efficiency real quick. So remember, there's two types. There's productive, which is the quantity at the minimum ATC, and there's allocative, which is price equals MC. So let's figure out what monopolistic competition is. Let's look at it in the long run, because that's where we are earning, zero economic profits. And let's see if they're efficient there. So to show zero economic profits, what we're going to do is this. We'll have everything here. We'll have a marginal cost. I like to find the price first. And then right here, this is the tricky part. This is where I want the ATC to come down, touch that point, and hit the minimum at the MC. So it's going to look something like this. It's going to come down, hit, and then also touch the minimum right there. Okay, so as long as you get it close, that's the main thing. So this is a graph that earns zero economic profits in the long run. Are they productive efficient? No, because this point, right, that's the minimum ATC, and this is the quantity at the minimum ATC, the productive efficient quantity. And as you can see here, right, there's a gap there. So they are producing less than the productive efficient quantity. So monopolistic competition produces less. Okay. So they are not productive efficient. What about allocative efficiency, where price equals MC? Maybe. Let's see. Well, here's our price, P star, right? And then our MC is way down here. Okay, MR equals MC right there. That's where your marginal cost is. So just go straight across. That's where your margin of cost is. And as you can see here, your price is more than your marginal cost. So no, so not allocative efficient because price is greater than marginal cost. Okay. So monopolistic competition, same as monopoly. They're not productive efficient, they're not allocative efficient either. So this is what it's going to look like. I'll draw all three examples here. This is zero profits. This is profits. So this area right here is your profits, and then this will be losses. Okay, so there we go. So this area right here in pink will be your losses. That's how we draw the graphs for monopolistic competition. And then we do have the long run adjustment because of the easy entry, easy exit, and that's going to change the demand to where eventually you'll end up at zero economic profits because the demand will increase or the demand will decrease. All right. In the next video, we'll talk about oligopolies. I'll see you there.